first sunny day in a while. So today we're going to do a battery build. So we've got these lithium iron phosphate cells, 25 amp hour, 8 of them. We're going to build a 12 volt pack. So we're going to parallel 2 together and then series 4. We've got a Visnar BMS, smart BMS with Bluetooth. This is just as a Dali. It's the same thing. It uses the the Dali app and all that type of stuff. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, test your cells, the voltage of your cells. First, let's put them all lined up with the positives and the negatives on the same side. Check the voltages and make sure they're relatively close, because what will happen is, let's say you got one cell and it came at like 2.5 or 2.7 volts and the rest of them were at 3 or 3.2 or higher. Well, when you connect these together, you're going to be transferring a lot of current, maybe more than what is safe. So in that scenario, what you're going to want to do is charge up the low cell. I would say at least to the 3 volts, but as close as you can get to the other ones, you would be good. For example, 3 volt to 3.2 volts, not that bad, because they're at a higher state of charge. But 2.5, 2.7 to 3 or 3.2, that's bad, because at 2.5 or 2.7, the battery is almost completely drained. And so it's going to demand a lot of current real fast. Kitty, gotta get down. All right, so let's test these. I got 3.2, 3.29, 3.2, 3.29, 3.24, 3.29, 3.29, 3.24. Yep, so we're good. Now, some of you are going to go, well, they're all the same volt, almost the same voltage, so they're balanced. Nope. No, they're not, because with lithium iron phosphate, the voltage does not tell you a whole lot about the state of charge. The low end of the voltage, like 2.5 or 2.7, will basically tell you that it is pretty much drained to 0. And the high end of the voltage, like 2.4 to 2.65, will pretty much tell you that they're fully charged. But anything in between, it's anybody's guess. You literally could have 2 cells that say 3.2 volts, but be like 50% difference in state of charge from one another. So that middle voltage range does not tell you which one has more which one has more charge. It doesn't. So the second thing we got to do after we test the voltage is we're going to parallel them all together. So all the negatives and all the positives. So I'm just using a piece of 14 gauge solid core copper wire. Get the positives. That's it. Now they're going to balance. Wrong. They're not going to balance. If you think you're going to wire these all up in parallel and let them set there, for an amount of time, that's not going to balance these batteries. Okay. So what we got to do is top balance these batteries, meaning since they're all in parallel, now we got to apply current to these and charge them all up in parallel to 3.65. If you don't do that, these cells will not top balance. They will not top balance by just setting here all connected in parallel. You have to apply a voltage to it and charge them all up to 3.65 volts. And that's where this hobby charger right here is going to come in. This is what I'm going to use. Now, some people use like a variable power supply, and that is fine, but a couple of things to note about a variable power supply is You need to set the voltage to, somewhere around 3.6 before you connect it to anything. Because when you connect it to these batteries, you can sit there and change that voltage knob, and it's not going to be it's not going to do anything, because these batteries are sucking it down. But you may have turned it all the way up and you don't know, because the voltage won't change on the unit until these start to charge all the way up. Well, then you leave it and you've got it cranked up to like 10 volts or something like that, and you come back and your batteries are swollen, exploded, whatever. That's not good, guys. So when you use one of those variable power supplies, you do not connect it. Set the voltage to 3.6 first. Then you connect it to the battery. Do not touch that thing ever again. The other thing that I don't like using, I really don't suggest using the variable power supplies like the benchtop power supplies, is because you could easily bump that little knob and not even know it. Your kid could come along, and you shouldn't really have your kids around when you're building batteries. But your cat could jump up on there, tap it, your dog, whatever. You don't know. It's dangerous, and I don't use it. That's why I use this. I can set the voltage. I can set the how I want it to charge. So, and I'll show you. So I can set it to 1S, which is what we'll be doing since they're all one battery now. I'm gonna try 15 amps. We've got it set to 3.65, okay? Lithium iron phosphate chemistry. And then hook up the cable here to one end. Then we do this. Plug it in. And then one more thing. So this thing has, it's a balance charger, so it has sense wires. So I want to connect those. Directly to the terminals, like so. And the reason why you do that is because when it's charging, it's going to be pushing current, there's going to be a lot of current going through these main cables, and that's going to cause a voltage drop. So when it's trying to read the voltage level here, it's going to be higher here and lower here, so it's not going to get the accurate voltage. So you can use these sense leads just like your BMS does, so it can check the voltage at the battery and not have to have that voltage drop that is occurring here. So it says 3.26. So now we're just going to go start. Okay. So that's going to take I don't know, maybe an hour or so. And then I'll come back when it's top balanced. Hey guys, remember when I said I'd be back in like an hour or so? I was totally wrong on that. But yeah, this thing is topped off, guys. Right now the voltage is setting at 3.5, but it did hit 3.65. It's just settled down a little bit. You can actually run a charge again, and it's going to quickly, ramp up. As you can see there, it'll be at 3.65 in no time, really. And there it is. The charger's saying it's close to being done, and basically when this goes down to less than an amp or whatever, it'll completely stop. So this thing is completely charged and topped off. So it's it is topped balanced right now. They have all, they're all in parallel, and the voltage has been charged. The batteries have been charged to 3.65. So you can be absolutely certain that these are top balanced. And I want to arrange the cells like, thinking I'm going to go something like so I already made these little bus bars out of copper wire, and these will do like 30 amps a piece. Yeah, so this might seem a little strange, but the way I've got it configured here is I've got two series packs, so two 4S series, and they're kind of mirrored each other, so that these right here, they can be paralleled in the center. So this will end up being the main positive, and this will end up being the main negative. But before I do that, I want to wrap these with this fiber reinforced tape, just to keep the cells together. Yeah, just dry fit in the BMS like that. All right, I need to make these longer little bus bars right here, and I'll be back. All right, guys, I did a little bit of work off camera because this is going to be a little bit more difficult to do on camera. But if you can see here, these are the two packs in series, and then they're paralleled together. So I paralleled them at every point. So at the main negative and the main positive, and then all points in between. That way I can solder the BMS sense leads to these little parallel connections in the center. And that's what I'm gonna do now. When you do that, when you connect the BMS sense leads, you do it with the sense wire disconnected from the BMS. That way you don't get something shorted out, and after it's all done, we can test to make sure everything's connected properly before we plug it into the BMS. And the black wire will go to your most negative, which is actually this one. So that's where we'll start. Okay, all the sense wires are connected. And let's see, we've got the most negative. We got the one next to that. The one right in the middle. Then the next one, and then the most positive. All right. So you can actually use a meter to test that these wires are correct. So most negative, the next one to it should be 3.5, okay, and then we should see like 7, yep, and then we should see 10, yep, 10.72, and then 13 something, or 14, yeah, 14.25, yep. So they're all connected properly. So now we can connect the BMS. The BMS will go here. Eventually it will get, I'll put some double-sided tape to hold that down. All right, let's see if we can connect to it. Oh, there it is right there. All the cells showing up there. So yeah, good to go. Everything looks good. It shows 86.9% stated charge. Clearly I got to go in there and reset that to where it's 100% because it is actually 100%. I got to set it to, it's set to 30 amp hour rated capacity, so I'm going to set that to 25. Wait, no, it's 50. Okay, so I set it to 50. Ah, here we go. If you can see this SOC set, it says 86, so we're going to set that to 100 because we got it top balance. It's fully charged. Yep, there we go, set to 100 now. Right on. And if we check the voltage, 14.21, all is well. So there we go, guys. Now, I do have an application for this, and so I'm going to give you a sneak peek as to what this is going to do. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here we go, and check that out. Ammo tin. So just so happens that this fits perfectly in there. Check that out. I mean, it literally fits perfect, like it was made for it. Now laying down, of course, but that's okay. Now, the beauty of it is, there's plenty of room in here for a charge controller. I don't know if it's going to be this one I'm going to put in here, but it could be. Let's see. So I think that it'll fit in there. You know, there's still room to have the wires coming out the bottom. So charge controller in there. I doubt we're gonna get an inverter in there, but we'll see. You know, maybe on the side or something like that. So this will have a small, compact, 50 amp hour solar generator. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I'll catch you on the next one.